Just got pulled off of my pulled my whole headset off. Anyways, welcome back to Quick Sixer. It's your boys, Pat Artus out in Knych. With us today, very special guest, Joe Belevender of Baptiste Brewing out of Michigan, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Warren, Michigan. All right, and so Joe, you are our first home brewer ever on the show, just so you know. So a little round of applause. Yeah.
Cool.
I was telling you earlier a little bit that we've had like some really big breweries before on here, but we never had any home brewers or anybody like interested after we reached out or anything to come on. So really appreciate you taking some time to talk about your beverages. And I don't know. So before we do any like intro type or any more intro stuff, I want to show off this. I really like this. Like it's not a full wrap like label. I really dig it.
Yeah, I want to do something different.
Yeah, it's cool, man. So did you did all this art too?
Yeah, I did all the art.
Oh, that's so rad. So I don't know if you can see the logo on there, but anyways, do you want? I'll crack this open, and then this is the Brit Golden, the Folding the House of Cards, 4.5, 38 IBU. If you do, you want to talk about how I don't know. I'm kind of curious how you came up with the name for your brew, and then maybe talk about this a little bit, this particular one.
How I made it?
No. Like
how I got into
I guess like if maybe I don't know. I'm more curious about the name of the how you decided on Jean Baptiste.
My mom's side of the family is from Lake Charles, Louisiana, so I have a lot of Cajun relatives.
Oh, nice.
And the Baptiste is kind of like almost in the past a lot of French surnames, so that was kind of like your middle name almost. So it was kind of an expanding thing, like anybody could be that name. And the story of John Baptiste is pretty cool himself. I'm not a really religious person, but I just thought it was.
Yeah. It definitely makes a good name for a brewing company for sure.
Yeah. And this was really good. And it has a great color. I don't know if you can see. You can probably see. Yeah. Look at that color. Incredible.
The Brit also doesn't have a lot of head to it, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So about this Brit Golden one, we have two beers that we're going to try on the show today, but particularly this one. Like, is there any anything you want to say about it, or talk about like what you used brewing it, or any of that kind of stuff?
Well, it's essentially like a British style of almost their American light lagers. It's like an ESB, but just very light malts, about the same bitterness as an ESB, but actually it's kind of evolved into more of an American hop style. So there's like Centennial hops in there, and more American bread hops and citrus flavors in there. So
yeah, I can definitely get your citrusy especially on the back end. So I mean, it's like, and then smells pretty citrusy a little bit too.
Some sapphire hops in there. This is actually a recipe that was given to me from a brewery in Ferndale, Michigan, by a brewer Zach that kind of has history in my club. That's how he kind of got started in his home brewing into his brewery, as he won a competition at our club's competition site.
Oh, cool. Well, shout out Zach. What's this club?
His brewery's Herb Rest. My club is Pontiac Brewing Tribe.
Okay, that's cool. And then how did you get involved with them?
My club, or
yeah, I guess with your club.
I kind of found them online. Like when I first started brewing, I got a Mr. Beer kit as a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely horrible. It was the worst beer I ever brewed in my life.
That's what I've heard about it.
And I kind of just thought that like you went from off the street, you got a job sweeping some Florida brewery, and that's how you became a brewer. I didn't realize there was a bunch of home brewers and people were doing it like in their house.
Yeah.
I couldn't even fathom it. And I came to find that there were like so millions of brewers like across the country. So.
Yeah. It's really cool. So how long ago was that when you got your beer kit?
It's going on almost 13 years now that I've been brewing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shit. In those 13 years, I mean, I took a few screen grabs from your Instagram and from, well, there's nothing on Threads, but you've won quite a few well, I guess just medals and awards, trophies, all sorts of stuff for brewing. That, I mean, that was kind of initially what caught my eye when I found you. Besides, you have a cool logo and good beers, but I was like, man, this dude's just winning shit. Like this dude's out here, trying to get that paper. So like, what I don't know, what would be like like if you were gonna shoot for some award or some medal, like what is the thing? Maybe is it in your region or is it nationally that you would be shooting for? Like right now.
Right now, I'm kind of building up some competitions because I'm part of a thing. It's called a Master Homebrew Program.
Okay.
It's a conglomeration of a bunch of people who compete around the country that are pretty good. So you earn points, and I'm trying to do that right now.
Oh, cool.
And then in the next month or two, I'll start gearing up for national homebrew competition.
Nice. Where's that
at? They change it. Trying to travels across the country. This year was in San Diego. The year before was in Pittsburgh. They have like a whole convention. They have the award itself, ceremony itself.
Oh, cool.
The convention.
And I saw recently, well, maybe it's not too recently, but took a gold at the Michigan State Fair for your cream ale, cream get on top.
Yeah.
So what do you, besides, I mean, this one's super good, but what do you think is your favorite kind of beer to brew?
That's kind of like the German lagers. I like a lot of Brits, ESBs, Kolsch's. Kolsch is probably my favorite brew.
Okay.
Beer to brew, just because it's so complex, but it's so simple at the same time.
Yeah.
Like a fine line, you can mess it up, or it can be really
good. Okay. Do you think anything that you had before you started brewing, like influenced what you wanted to brew at first, or do you think it was like you started at a certain starting point when you started home brewing and then just like kind of grew out your knowledge and like tested out things from there?
I kind of grew out. The first craft beer I remember having was a Blue Moon, which it was sort of craft at that time.
Yeah.
And Dragon Mead is a brewery that opened up near my house where I grew up, like less than a mile away, and it was my first real microbrew.
Okay.
And then I had Belgian beer. It's called St. Bernardus 5, and that kind of just opened the floodgates, and I got Belgian beer super heavy.
Oh, nice. So nice.
That's kind of like to brew the most, but
yeah. That's pretty interesting. I think I was actually you met Drew for a second last week, and we were talking a few episodes ago about something pretty similar, and it was like what beer or whatever got him drinking different kinds of beers. And I think there was Blue Moons and Fat Tires at the time that he was like the first thing that he drank that was not like some like super company,
Yeah,
like some Butters and Miller or whatever. Adam, what do you think was your first beers?
I mean, those were
branched out.
Those are definitely in rotation for sure. Fat Tire, Blue Moon, and I feel like those were pushed really heavily too. Like if you went to a bar, that was usually what was on draft. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like Kolsch, a lot of Kolsch's too. I think. I mean, but definitely, Blue Moon was definitely on rotation though.
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you think was the first thing that you tried?
First, you were like beer?
No, like the first thing you tried that wasn't like, Budweiser or Miller or something like this that you're like,
Probably
huh.
probably Stella.
Yeah, I think so for
Stella
me
for
too.
sure.
I think so.
Stella's a good one. Stella's a very
Stella,
good one.
Stella is a good one, man. Shout out to Stella.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, if you're gonna buy something that's at every grocery store, buy Stella. Like, probably,
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Coronas are one of my go-to too, but without the lime. Like it's a great,
Ooh,
Without the lime.
it's a
without the
great,
lime.
a great pilsner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Yeah.
What's Joe? What's your take on Modelo? I heard recently that Modelo is the most popular beer in America right now.
I like Modelo a lot. I really do. I think a lot of the Mexican beers are just kind of they're kind of a step up beyond what Budweiser and Bud Light or Miller's or Coors. They're brewed better.
Hmm. Can you tell the difference, like when you have one of these like huge big beer brands, and like tell which ones are better just off the taste?
Yeah, I mean you could pretty much tell Bud Light or Budweiser.
Yeah,
They
but
kind
I
of
mean
have
like
that.
after brewing, like before and after brewing, I guess I should ask.
Oh, before I started brewing,
Yeah.
no, I couldn't. No, my palate was not there. I couldn't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And me a random beer, I would have been like, I don't know, beer.
Yeah,
Taste beer.
yeah, love that. Is there any styles that have like become super popular over the last couple of years? Like, I don't know, for example, like probably these hazies or any of these seltzers or any of that kind of stuff that's kind of like you thought about doing any kind of rotations with?
I do hazies. I do quite a bit of them in the summer, and then I kind of lay off of them.
Okay.
There's only so much hops you can take. Seltzers, I haven't done that just because I know I won't drink it.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people around me that will drink it, so
Yeah, we shit on seltzers pretty hard on this show too. So yeah, you might catch. I know Brittany was I think she's at her store, but she might be the only one out of all of us that will have a seltzer on camera. Maybe, but I don't know, man. What do you think is like the worst beer trend that's happened recently?
Milkshake IPAs,
Oh,
probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge sour fan. I'm glad that kind of died down quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're not bad. It's just unless you want an esophagus at the end of the year, I would suggest not drinking that heavily.
Yeah.
Just I mean, Heartburn City, if you like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not a fan of the slushy, all the slushy beers, like the thick slushy stuff that people are doing.
Oh, yeah, the fruited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're most like slushy sour type of deals, but they're like chunky. And I'm like, dude, if I wanted this, I'd get something not a beer,
But what's funny is you'll try them though. I mean, you try
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I'll try everything, but I'm just
Even though you know it's going to be bad.
yeah. I tried this one. Me and Adam were doing a show, 6 months ago, probably. It was like a purple. It was like grape slushy, like I don't know, like what they call it, like grape mosaic IPA or something. I was like, it was weird as fuck. The name didn't make any sense, and I was like, this is gonna be awful. And Adam's like, yeah, cool, try it. And so I pour it out, and it's just fucking thick, and it took forever for me to finish it. It was so gross, but
I mean, you might as well have a margarita at that point. You're kind of
yeah, it would have been better too. Margarita would have been better. Speaking of better, what do you think are your top 5 like influences as far as like what you'd want your beers to taste like? Top 3, whatever. Top few.
Wow. Well, in the Belgian beer category, I'd have to say, you ever had Le Fendemon or
Yes.
that was kind of like where I wanted my Belgian beers to go, in that direction, that brewery's direction. Um, and then there was one locally, Bastone's,
Mhm.
that kind of influenced me a lot. And
Cool.
then, and there's another brewery close by, Loaded Dice. Brewer there is just kind of very experimental, kind of just doesn't
Mhm.
give it, doesn't care what anybody thinks, it'll just brew whatever. And
Mhm.
he kind of got me out of a slump. I was like kind of in a brewing slump where I
Mhm.
was really like enthralled with brewing anymore. He was just doing really wild things. And I was like, hey,
Yeah,
did a few of those and kind of got me back into the swing and brewing pretty
that's what's
heavily.
up. Yeah, gotta get that motivation somehow.
Yeah.
So I've always been curious about this, but since you started home brewing, well, I guess let's fast forward. You're home brewing like 5 years or so, right? At that point, are you buying anything, any other like just beers out of the store, or the beer store, or the the grocery or whatever? Or are you just making your own stuff and drinking that?
At that point, I was still buying from the store because my beers really weren't up to par yet.
Okay.
And yeah, for the first 3 or 4 years, I was still doing that. Even into like the fifth or sixth year, I was kind of waning off because my beers were getting better.
Okay.
And then I wasn't really competing heavily until like the fifth or sixth year. So,
Nice.
and that was maybe 4 competitions a year, where now I'm doing like maybe 15 to 20,
Okay.
sometimes.
That's a lot. So when when you started getting like, I guess past that point where you're like, this stuff's getting pretty good, like do what would bring you to the store to actually get something or try something? You could word of mouth, or like, hey, you need to find this and check it out.
Yeah, word of mouth, or I'll go to a brewery and really dig a beer that they have, and I'll try to find it on the shelf, which is most of the time I can't find that beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a beer I don't want to have
Yeah.
because the distributor came in and pushed it on the store. But
Yeah.
uh, seasonal beers for sure.
Okay.
When Oktoberfest comes out, best beers, go get a spot in Oktoberfest.
Okay.
Go look for local Oktoberfest, and
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Actually, speaking of, uh, shout out to it. There's a local um group that we do stuff with pretty regularly called Sobros Network, and me and Brittany were just on their Oktoberfest slash fall beer tasting. So I think it was live, but go and check out their website for that if you want to see us try like 16 Oktoberfest beers in a row. It was a nightmare. After a little bit, that Marzen is not that great, man. It's like, this. I got really bummed after a little bit.
you could go from 4% up to 6.5, and you wouldn't. That's the thing with those. So
Dude, some of them were just bad.
yeah,
Uh, like,
some are sugar laden, some are just kind of bland. Kind
yeah,
of hard to get that in
Yeah.
between.
the ones that I found the worst were like the ones that tasted overly fake pumpkin, like the on the fall side, not like the Oktoberfest side, but like it was like a mix. It was like Oktoberfest beers and like fall beers or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And
You talking about like pumpkin ales?
pumpkin ales, fucking dude, ugh,
Oh yeah.
it was bad. Like I think it was like, what is it, Kentucky bourbon
No.
pumpkin ale or something. Like
I
it's
think I might have had something like that before. It sounds very familiar.
yeah, almost like, dude. And like our friend Stoney who runs Sobros was like, oh yeah, we'll try all these things, and he wouldn't tell us anything that was coming out of the bag. So we're just like, oh god. Like me and Brittany are sitting there just like trying them, and we're like, dude, this is so bad. Like half of them, like the overly like some of the fake pumpkin taste was like almost tasted like plasticky, and I'm like, this is gnarly, man. Like I can't with this shit. It's like adding like fake smoke to barbecue stuff. Like, you can't untaste that.
No, no, you know it's
Yeah, like bro, this shit's fake. oh man, Adam, you're in Atlanta. How has any of the Oktoberfest stuff or fall beer stuff hit your local area yet?
Yeah, there
It-
was
yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, it's big time. Every weekend it's like something going on
Mm,
at all the breweries here.
yeah,
That's good
yeah,
to hear.
Yeah.
yeah. It's cool. Um, man, I was gonna ask you something about. I always forget this thing. Forget what it's called, but in Michigan it's really big. Where there's like it's like a trail or not a trail, maybe a what is it called? They have different breweries who have these like little pendants or whatever, and you can collect them all. Like there's a shit ton of them in Michigan. Do you know about
Uh,
this?
yeah, it's a hot passport, and then they have like the brew
There you
tag.
go.
Brew
There you go.
tags.
Brew tag.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nice.
brew tag. So there's only 2 or 3 of them with brew tags in Tennessee, and where I'm at, and they're pretty cool. I mean, so I think it's a pretty cool thing. Do you do any of that kind of stuff out there? Do you collect any from the locals around town?
I don't. That kind of took off. What, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and my
Yeah.
kind of. I'm a beer dork still, but like that part of the beer dork in me wasn't that dorky anymore. I didn't want like.
Oh.
I have a hot passport. I just don't use it because I forget about it.
Yeah. 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 I've noticed
That,
a lot of there's no like single one too. Like if you're in upstate New York or just around New York, there's like New York has its own app for like a beer passport type of situation. It's like say like called Beers Across New York or something. I have it on here, but
yeah, there's another one that just started up around here too. I can't remember the name of it, but there's a couple now. There's a few of them.
yeah, the app is called New York Craft, I think. If you're ever up, if anybody's ever up there and listening, go check that out. It's pretty cool. It'll show you all the map where you're gonna go. I assume that, yeah. But Michigan's got a bunch of spots on the brew tag thing. So
Yeah, there's a lot of breweries involved with that here.
yeah,
Quite a few of them. I mean,
yeah.
you can stumble, walk out the door, and stumble into a brewery. Pretty much, there's so many.
Yeah.
Do speaking of actually, have you so you've been home brewing for like 13 years. Have you thought about making it like a brick and mortar or you just
Yeah,
gonna
many of times I have. Many of times, I have a friend that he kind of got into brewing for me, and then we've kind of been back and forth on it a few times, but it's always a matter of timing.
yeah.
I mean, investors, timing, what the market's looking like, and the beer market's kind of like in a weird spot right now.
Hmm.
People are kind of going low alcohol or not drinking really that much anymore. So
Yeah.
it's a very strange time to think about it.
Hmm. I was gonna the reason I brought it up because of the amount of breweries in Michigan. I was wondering if that had deterred you at all. Like there's just so many of them.
No, no, just because the dream is too much it clouds out all that kind of
For
thing.
sure. Yeah, yeah. I like that. What so if you did, um I assume that you do it in Warren, right? Or would you try to do it in a different city?
Probably a different city. The guy that was probably trying to partner up with, he lives on the other side of the state, so it'd probably be somewhat center of the state, maybe
Mm-hmm.
way or my way. It's more of like what that community has, what kind of foot traffic,
Nice. Yeah.
kind of interest there is in craft beer.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of foot traffic, I'm gonna walk my way over to this other beer that you sent over. So this one, Brit Golden, awesome. Can you check these in on taps and other stuff like that if people have your beers?
That one, no. No, you can't. But I've had a beer on Untapped from a competition, and it was at a brewery, and it was on Untapped for a while.
Oh, nice. All right, cool.
So
So we're gonna go to this other one real quick. peel it off, so it's gonna be a second. But this is the East Side Slide double, right?
Yep.
5.6, 25 IBU. Also very cool label. It's very kept them cold. So it's gonna take a sec. So do you wanna what's this beer all about, Jeff?
So that's actually a collab recipe between me and another. I'm in two homebrew clubs, and this one is from Dan Good Cook from Motor City Mashers. Me and him made a recipe together,
Okay.
and we both brewed it on our own systems. And this is my version of the Dubbel
Oh,
of that recipe.
cool. Shout out. You said his name's Dan.
Yep.
Shout out Dan. Let's pop this jug off.
Yeah, the Dubbel's kind of one of my favorites. It's in between like a Belgian pale and a dark strong.
Okay, yeah.
It is a pale, but it's kind of like a gateway into heavier Belgian beers.
Yeah, I mean it smells dark. It even smells darker than the other one. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Smells darker, but
There's a lot of darker malts in there, especially malts. There's a lot of dark fruit character.
yeah, like compared to the other one. Everyone, I don't know if you back up, so you could probably see my hand through the other one, but not this one. But,
Yeah.
This is legit too. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, I thought it turned out pretty well.
Yeah, it's not too heavy. It looks heavier than it tastes by far. But yeah, great color. Look at that, Adam. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, it looks
find
good.
like a good light, but it's way more caramely looking than you can probably see on camera. But it smells great. How old is this one? How long you been brewing this one?
That one I think is now about 2 or 3 months old.
Oh, nice. Nice.
A lot of people age their Belgians or bottle condition them. I just go from fermenter to keg, because I know it'll be universally carbed and the flavor will stay the same.
Yeah, it's really good. You think it's gonna feel? I know I keep saying it, but you think like just by the look of something like this, you feel like it's gonna make you feel heavier, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's like it tastes. It's like a kind of like a light crisp on it. It's really nice. That's really good.
yeah, it's
really
a pretty
good.
complex beer for what it is. It's pretty simple, but it's pretty complex at the same time.
How long? So how long before? I mean, after you started brewing, did you try something like this? Like what's like the starting point, and then like, what do you think is the most complex thing you've tried to do?
I think Belgians pretty much are kind of a complex thing because everybody has a very standpoint on how to make them. Some people are in a camp to where they have to be completely traditional, and some people like me just kind of do whatever they feel is right to brew Belgian beer. But you kind of got to baby the yeast on the Belgian beer. It's kind of what makes a Belgian beer, and it's your kind of perception of how you want to do that. A lot of breweries in Belgium kind of go no temp control and just let the yeast ride. Right, and try to control it all the way through and keep it super low and controlled.
Oh, cool.
Kind of get some of the malt and the yeast character itself.
Yeah,
it took a while for me to start getting into like really defining my recipes. Like I was kind of just willy-nilly for a while, and then I kind of started to understand what certain malts did and hops and how they played together.
Yeah. I don't want to pick favorites from your babies, but I like this one over the other one.
Me too. So
okay. Favorite child right here.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Actually, speaking of not speaking of, but me and Adam just did an episode recently where we built our ultimate music festival from the ground up, and we decided to pick Michigan as the spot. I want to know what you think about this. Okay, so we picked where did we pick? I don't fucking where did we pick? Where's the place?
You picked it really.
I know I picked the place, but I'm like, where the fuck did we pick? Oh, that's right. So we picked Mackinac Island. All right, in late September, early October, as the
Ooh.
place. What do you think?
You'd be battling through a lot of fudgies, as they call them up there, because people love to come up there and get fudge.
Yeah.
Dealing with a lot of families and strollers and people just mowing down fudge. And that would be cool. It'd be kind of surreal because there might be some people that are
Yeah.
fairly maybe intoxicated that would enjoy the irony of a music festival and fudge people there at the same time.
Yes. So the idea was I'd gone there in 20, so I don't know, some year, 2014, 2015 or something. And our friends took us around the thing, you take bikes or whatever. And the idea was you put stages up like at different points on the island. So you'd have to bike around or whatever. And there'd only be a certain amount of people because the ferries can only bring a certain amount of people there. And the hotels, like they're one hotel or two hotels there, completely reserved for the festival. So people can stay there if they want. But yeah, it's like a complete takeover of the whole place. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it'd be a good spot or no?
Those people would have a heart attack. So they would.
Yeah,
that'd be a great place. Be a great place. Yeah, if you could secure the whole place down. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it'd be sick.
You just have to warn the staff.
Right?
It's gonna be wild.
They get free admission. All the staff.
They're used to family coming and eating fudge and taffy, and here comes a bunch of rowdy.
Oh, dude,
people,
party
all day.
People in pasties and fishnets trying to listen to whatever. Oh, dude. Speaking of, so I was up, like I said earlier, I was up in Louisville at this festival this past weekend, and man, the youths don't care, man. There's just people just out here, you know what I'm saying? Like straight up just basically nothing on these places. I'm just like, me and Adam have been to quite a few music festivals together. I don't think people understand, man. You're gonna get toasted out at one of these places. Like so sunburned. Like they have no idea what they got themselves into. But they're gonna have the coolest tan lines ever. So I'm so psyched for them. Shout out to all the youths. Anyways, that's a little weird tangent, but where would you? So if we didn't put our music festival in Michigan, where would you put one? Your like your build your own music festival.
Build my own music festival.
It could be in Michigan.
I like the kind of like island / secluded spot idea. That's a great one.
Mm.
That's a hard one,
right?
It
took us a minute for sure. We had a whole note. We're sharing ideas.
There's some great ones in Michigan right now. So
yeah. Oh fuck. Anyway, off that. If you were we're talking about how you probably don't buy as many beers as you used to from the stores or whatever now. If you were gonna go buy five like, everyday drinkers type of beers, like for you, maybe for you or just for a party or something, what do you think you'd buy now if they weren't your beers?
I'd probably surprisingly buy like Corona or Modelo or something like that. Just something I know that's gonna have the same flavor that I had previously.
Mm-hmm.
Super easy drinking crushers. No thought about it. Because sometimes you just want to have a good beer. You just don't want to get crazy and just want you can sip on and be completely fine with it.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because I'm wondering what is the beer that if you're going to show somebody like your home brews, what is the beer that you would show them? Like what style or what particular beer?
Oh, probably.
And they're not a beer drinker. Keep that
And
in
they're
mind.
not a beer drinker.
Like you're like, hey, I do this thing, and I want to show you how cool I am at it. Like this is the one. Like
It
this
would
is
Yeah,
probably,
like a beer that's for everybody is what you're saying, Pat.
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it would probably be a Kolsch itself because it
Yeah.
kind of has a little bit of fruitiness to it. There's some bitterness there, but it's very smooth drinking, and you can kind of it's a gateway.
Hmm.
Like, hey, this doesn't have to taste like that. You can have a little bit of flavor there.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's. I like the word gateway to it because we were talking about the Blue Moons and the Stellas of the world. Um, I think that is a gateway. Like you kind of get in that little lane, and then you're like, shit, what else is on this side of the grocery store? Like, like what's on this chunk of it? Let's try everything. But man,
I mean, there was a time I thought Blue Moon, when I first had it, tasted like blueberries, which I was totally way off on that. I just saw the name and I was like,
Yeah.
it's flavored. That's weird.
yeah,
What I'm drinking here. There's some kind
yeah.
of flavor here.
There's a beer, UFO blueberries
Yeah.
beer that legit tastes like blueberries, which is kind of crazy.
There's also Sweetwater,
Oh yeah,
blueberry
yeah.
wheat. I don't know if they
Hmm.
still make it, but it's a brewery here in Atlanta, Sweetwater.
Hmm.
I think they do. I think they do. I've seen Sweetwater. I don't know if it was the
Yeah.
blueberry.
It's just
It's like
called Sweetwater Blue, isn't it?
yeah, maybe. But it was like it's one of those beers too. It's like you could find that easier than you could like their IPAs or,
Yeah,
Pilsners or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah,
um,
so for people to start drinking IPAs off the bat.
Yeah.
yeah. That is it. That's a thing that we've talked about quite a bit on the show is like what IPAs got people into trying them because it is kind of like a harsh beer, I guess, to just push on somebody.
Yeah.
And so the beer I was telling you earlier before we started that we did a thing with Lagunitas a while back, and that was actually the beer that got Drew into drinking IPAs, like the Lagunitas IPA.
That's a good
And
one.
yeah, I think that's a solid one. I think you get that one. You get probably what? Probably maybe a New Belgium or something is like a starter one. Who else am I
Around here,
thinking?
around here it was Two Hearted, so
Oh well, yeah.
kind of
Oh
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's a good one.
everybody in Michigan's indoctrination into IPAs is a Two Hearted. Like,
The Two Hearted is a gnarly one to start with.
yeah,
That's a great beer though.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorites for sure.
yeah.
Well, the lighthearted version now, which is kind of
Mm.
cool in the sense that you don't have to get wasted, and you can kind of taste the grain bill. So you
Oh,
kind of
okay.
get like
Nice.
you see how
Is
great the beer is when you taste like the grain bill. You're like, wow, that's actually awesome, even without the massive hops and alcohol. It tastes
Yeah.
yeah. Is that something that you've kind of um like grown to know over like after starting to homebrew and stuff? Like you can kind of taste how things were brewed. Or is
yeah.
that
You kind of get a sense of what malts were used. Sometimes hops, even though it's harder now because there's
so
so many
many?
different varieties. There's countless. I couldn't even name
Mm-hmm.
30 off the bat.
Jeez. Jeez.
There was a point where Citra was like the newest hop, and that was like blow your mind.
Everywhere.
10 new hops a year. You can't
Mm-hmm.
even keep up.
What if you're gonna pick something that you're excited about like brewing right now, like what kind of ingredients and stuff are you like, this is the shit right now?
Uh, I think yeast are kind of like the ingredient now, which is yeast is like an ingredient people kind of really don't talk about a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
it kind of makes the beer.
Yeah.
And there's so many different labs that are messing around with yeast and making new strains, and it's just kind of a weird time to be in beer because there's so many new yeast strains that can do so many different things.
Mm.
So usually if there's a new yeast that comes out, that's what I'm usually trying to get my hands on, try to brew with it.
Oh, nice. Is there anything that you're like completely not trying to get your hands on? Like, this is not for me.
Sours.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
for me.
Oh man, do you just not like them, or are they hard to brew, or like what's
I like them, and some of them you have to. It depends on what you're doing. I mean, there's ways to not infect your brewing gear, but a lot of those sour beers can destroy your brew setup for any other beer you want to make. They can just stick around, and you'll never get rid of the yeast
oh,
without having to pretty much get rid of half your equipment.
that sounds awful.
That's why I'm like, nope, let's stay away from that.
That's cool. I don't know. Adam, you got any trends or anything that are happening in Atlanta that you've seen? They're
Just what you're saying, that like the slushy beers, I don't understand that.
yeah.
Right. Or the milkshakes. Like, I mean, the milkshakes kind of went away, but that was the thing for a while.
Yeah.
You know, especially in Louisiana, that was the thing. New Orleans and stuff. Like,
It's such a crazy thing for Louisiana to have. So
I know it's too hot.
It's so hot, dude. Some milkshake beers. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, thank
But
you. Yeah. No, that's not.
That.
Do it.
I'm surprised they went that route down there. I haven't been there in quite a while. It's about 10 years, but
yeah. Well, there's like a couple of like cool breweries in New Orleans that are trying different things, like, you know, more fruited, like farmhouse ales and stuff like that, or like fruited IPAs, like hazies for the most part. But yeah, every once in a while they'll throw in like a chocolatey, like weird experimental, like cereal IPA.
Yeah.
It's way too hot.
I did some of those for a while. I was kind of on a kick with those. I did like 3 or 4 of those, the cereal.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I mean, they can be good, but yeah, just
Yeah.
I'm always afraid to try it.
Yeah. It's definitely I mean, it's not really a running joke, but it's like, yeah, you should probably be near like a bathroom. like
Yeah,
so those
especially
lactose
with my
beers.
stomach.
Yeah, for sure. Joe, what cereals did you use for the ones you brewed?
I did a sweet stout with Count Chocula, which actually
Okay.
was my favorite.
Okay.
Did the Fruit Loop, which everybody has done the Fruit Loop beer. I think. I did Frosted Mini Wheats, and I think there was one more I did, maybe Frankenberry.
Ooh, Frankenberry. Okay. What's your take on all these lactose beers that were kind of popping for a minute?
A lot of them are just kind of over the top, so I didn't really dig them as much. I did a few myself, but never really liked them.
Yeah,
Intense.
I think they're real. They're all the ones we've tried. Do what?
They seem very, very artificial because usually people just overdo it to the max, so you can really, that's all you taste.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all the ones we've tried. I think on this show are they're really hit or miss. Like it's either they're really good or they're like, man, never again. But oh man,
pretty much nailed
it. Is there any places like when you started home brewing? I know Michigan has a ton of brewers, but are there any places that you've like visited to try to collaborate with anybody or want to go and collaborate with anybody?
Well, I've done that. I've won a competition and brewed my beer on a local brewery, Cadillac Straits, and then recently I won a Siciliano's Cup, which is a market out in Grand Rapids, and the prize was to brew with a brewery, which is brewing with Mint Brewery. My beer to guard sometime coming up in the next few months, but
oh, dope.
Nice.
I've never personally went to a brewer and been like, "Can I brew beer with you?" Because most of the time they're just so busy that it's kind of a near impossibility unless you're winning a competition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always wonder about collaborations because there's quite a few breweries in Nashville now that are pretty, I guess, well known ish. But occasionally you'll see like they'll do collaborations, especially around like, I don't know, big beer festival times. You'll see them right afterwards, like, oh, like this person, in collaboration with whatever on the cans or bottles or whatever it may be. And I'm like, I wonder how these, besides like beer festivals and people meeting each other, I always wonder like how is this happening? Like, because everyone does seem super busy when you go to a brewery.
Yeah, they are. For breweries though, it seems like it's not really tight knit, but everybody knows everybody. Once
Mm-hmm.
you start getting, even like being a home brewer for a long time, you pretty much know a lot of brewers. You know tons of professional brewers, home brewers. They know you by name basis. So when they do like a collab, it's pretty much just a time to hang out and drink beers with your buddies. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's more or less what a collab brew is most of the time.
Yeah, I figured. Man. Do you have you want to say anything else about this east side before I pretty much finish it?
Oh no, I'm good.
Oh, cool. It's very good.
Uh,
Very, very good. I'm so excited. There's another one, honestly. It's like I was thinking about giving one to Brittany to do on our review shows, but it's like I don't know. Might have to keep these in the house.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you to save me one, but I know that's not gonna happen. So
Well, I mean, if you come here soon enough, then you can have one.
I'm gonna step.
Mm-hmm. I'll just like I'll just can like jar one for you, like this much. Like this, you have a
yeah,
sip. Oh man. All right, cool. So I think we should do one last thing to try to maybe cap off this. Like, what would be your dream collaboration or dream thing to win as far as brewing? Or
Dream
both.
dream thing would probably be Homer of the Year for Nationals, and then probably for a brewery might be, man. There's so many people I want to brew with. It'd be a hard one.
Yeah.
It'd be a hard one.
What about maybe not?
Rocky Van Meter. He was a part of that brewery I talked about. Bastones.
Mhm.
Kind of much. He was pretty much like my idol when I was starting off Belgians, just because he brews alone and he doesn't allow anybody in his brewery when he's brewing or in his fermentation space, pretty much.
Okay.
That's kind of been the way I brew. I don't really collab or have people over for brew day. I kind of just do my own thing.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was kind of cool. And I'd like to invade his space, just make him feel uncomfortable.
We actually it's kind of crazy. I think we were that's very similar to this dude me and Drew met a while back. This dude named Nagareshi. And he's like a brewer that was out of California, but I don't know where he's at now. But he he was telling us some crazy stuff like brewing on solar power in like the jungle and shit. And like we're like, what is this dude about? He's like like some kind of scientist type of guy. And he was that same type of dude. Like he'd just like do his thing and they're like, here is magic, they hand it to you. And yeah.
I've never did. Yeah.
Dude's a psycho. Yeah, check him out actually. If you go find him on Instagram, he's still on Instagram.
I might have to take a look.
Yeah, Nagareshi. Weirdo. Super cool though. Anyways, Joe, I really appreciate you sending us these beers to try on the show. And yeah, you should plug all your places where people can see all your beers and all your socials and all that stuff, so we can keep up with you and the rest of the community can check you out when they're in the area.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just send you guys some beer kind of off the cuff.
Ooh, what a surprise beer.
No show involved. You can just have some free homebrew.
Oh shit. love a surprise. Man, that's the best. You know, and you get like a, you know, honestly, that's the best thing in life. Just like a surprise treat, you know, you weren't expecting.
Yeah,
It's the best thing ever.
I
No,
do with a few other home brewers. Like you've been doing it back and forth for quite a bit, so you get little nice packages on your porch, some free beer.
that's the coolest shit ever. That's
Usually,
so
if they're
nice.
Friday they show up, it's always a good weekend.
It's got me excited just now. Like I mean, like you know how like you feel a little excitement in your chest even though nothing's happened. Like I'm just like, ooh, a little treat. Like oh man. Well, anyways, Joe. Yeah, go follow Joe Jean Baptiste Brewing on Instagram and you have a threads, but I don't know if you do anything on it.
I haven't really toyed around with it yet, but
Yeah, I mean, Twitter is inevitably going to go down. So,
yeah, it will. It-
especially with this everybody paying to use it now eventually. Yeah, so go and check it out. Jean Baptiste Brewing. We follow them, so just look at the people we follow, and yeah, follow them, check them out. Check Joe out. He's constantly winning things, being rad. Really appreciate you sending this stuff through. And
no problem. No problem.
yeah. So your boys, Adam and Pat, go and follow all the Quick Sixer stuff. And if you like this, you got any other brewery suggestions we should reach out to, check it out, let us know. But it's been your boys. We out of here.